we're going to make Italian semolina bread. Now I went ahead and made the bread in my bread maker on the dough cycle, but you can make it by hand, of course, if you prefer. But this is the recipe. You're going to need 1 1/3 cups of water, 1 1/3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar, 1 cup of semolina flour, 3 cups of bread flour, and 2 teaspoons of your dry active yeast. I went ahead and made one and put it in my maker. I just took it out a little while ago. You can see how it really rose quite nicely. I'm going to put a little flour onto my countertop and just pull that bread out of my maker, the machine. And then I'm just going to turn it around in the flour. And what I like to do is I actually like to cut it right in half into 2 equal pieces. Now you can bake this with just one large loaf if you want, but I tend to like to separate them and then just braid it, and I'll show you in a moment why I do that. So just start stretching out the dough, rounding out the edges, and you want them, of course, the same length. So just stretch it out. And you're probably stretching it to about 12 inches or so. This dough is it's very nice and elastic, so it will handle well for you. And then once you have your 2 pieces lined up, and they're relatively the same on the edges and on length and width, then I just actually go ahead and I just put one over the other, tighten it up a little bit, and once I do that, then I like to just tuck it under and then seal it together so that it doesn't come apart when you bake it. And I'll do the other side too. Pull the sides together, just kind of crimp them together, push them together, pinch them together, and then you have a braid. Now I went ahead and used a solid shortening and heavily greased my pan, and you're going to bake this at 425, and you're going to bake it anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes. So start checking it about 15 minutes or so, because you know how all breads, all ovens set up differently. Now what you're going to do is, once you do that, just take actually an egg wash. I beat an egg, and with a pastry brush, I'm just going to paint it with this egg wash. Now if you don't want to use egg, you can use the white of the egg if you want. But I'm going to quickly paint this with the beaten egg. Now this particular loaf will have to double in size before you bake it at 425. What I also like to do with this particular bread is, once I put the egg wash on, I like to actually just sprinkle some sesame seeds on it, and I'm quite generous with it. Then what you'll want to do is just take a piece of saran wrap and then of course cover it. You can put a towel on top of that also, and let it rise till it becomes double. So just put a towel on it and let it rise in a warm part of your oven. I went ahead and baked a loaf to show you, and here it is, Italian semolina bread. The reason that I braid it is because I particularly like to cut this into the 4 pieces, and whatever I don't use, I wrap it very well with saran or plastic wrap and put it in a freezer bag in my freezer, and it really will keep up to about, well, 10 days, even 2 weeks. So you have a beautiful loaf of homemade bread. The recipe will be below the video. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.